Hey everybody, what's going on? Good late afternoon, kind of spilling into the evening now, obviously, but wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that we're hearing about the Seahawks from the beat writers, from the reporters. And earlier today, I made a similar video. Earlier today was more about the positive stuff, the things we're learning about Jadarian Price, the things we're hearing about Rashid Shaheed. Now, this is going to be kind of on the other side of it, although not necessarily a negative thing. I kind of perceive it that way, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It's a little bit, I don't want to say surprising either, but it's not ideal. I'll put it to you that way. It's not ideal. So this tweet is from Sleeper NFL, but the actual report is from Brady Henderson, who we talk about all the time on this channel, one of the top reporters that follows the Seahawks. And it concerns Devon Witherspoon. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So, as you can see from the tweet on screen here, Devon Witherspoon still without a new deal, which we know that. Negotiations reportedly haven't gone smoothly. And again, that's from Brady Henderson. That's not from a clickbait engagement farming account. That is from Brady Henderson, who is pretty reliable. I'm not going to say he's 100% reliable, but on something like this, I would imagine that he knows what he's talking about. So according to the report, Seattle made its initial offer 3 months ago, but all signs point to Witherspoon being at the top of the market when his deal is finally hammered out. Now, that statement, that part of this, if that is something that is being taken directly from what Brady Henderson is hearing, which is the implication, it implies that the holdup is just the money on the contract, which I guess that would be the most obvious and clear way a contract like this could get held up a little bit. Now, let's understand where we sit right now, and let's think about some of the things that could be going on right now with this team. So, this is a list of every cornerback contract in the NFL sorted by average annual value. And you can see where the top of the market currently sits. Trent McDuffie, who got extended earlier this offseason after getting traded to the Rams, 4 years, $124 million. So that's $31 million per year. So common sense and just kind of general logic dictates that if and when Devon Witherspoon gets extended, he's going to get more than that, because that's what setting the market means. And that's also how this works in general, right? If you are the next elite corner to get paid, you get paid more than the last guy, and then on and on and on until everybody's getting paid a lot of money. So, yeah, I think we all understand that's how it works. Even whether or not you are the best corner in the league, whether or not you are actually the number one corner, you get paid like the number one corner when it's your turn to get paid if you are in the conversation. And Devon Witherspoon is in the conversation, therefore he gets the big money when it's time to get the big money. So I understand that some people are going to say, oh, well, he's not as good as this guy. He's not as good as that guy. Doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that he is one of the guys. And one of the guys gets paid like he is the top guy when it's his turn. And then the next guy who gets paid is going to get more, like Christian Gonzalez. There's a very good chance that Witherspoon gets extended and then Gonzalez gets extended to slightly more a little bit later. Again, that's just how this works. And I think that it mostly works that way for quarterbacks too, but it works for other positions too. If you like sports, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using the Prize Picks app, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, and obviously we are now firmly into the NFL offseason, so we're all about baseball. We got some basketball, we got some hockey, whatever it is you like. Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. Definitely make sure to use the promo code HMA. Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you use that promo code, that is HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far, so definitely get on over to it, check it out, and make sure to get your lineups. And don't forget about Team Picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So download the app now, use HMA, and get on over to Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. Now, let's think about this. Trent McDuffie, 31 million per, that would logically kind of insinuate, it would then logically follow that Witherspoon is going to be somewhere around 31 to 32 million per year. So you're probably looking at something along the same lines, right? 4 years, 124 million, maybe up to 4 years, 128 million. So somewhere in that window, right? And that makes sense. There is one difference here, though, because I'm trying to parse why this might be the case. And I think that the number one reason why things might not be going smoothly, quote unquote, is the Seahawks are not necessarily in any great hurry here because Devon Witherspoon has 2 years left on his contract. That's an important piece of the equation here. You take a look at his Spotrac page. He's under contract for 2026 at just over 10 million, under contract for 2027 for just under 21 million. Like Charles Cross last year, the Seahawks are not necessarily in any great hurry to extend him. Technically, yes, Witherspoon can hold out, but the NFL has made holding out exceedingly problematic for players, to where it's very, very unlikely that a player would ever really want to do it. So I don't think we're worried about that, especially not with 2 years left on his deal. Maybe with 1 year left on his deal, you could see him throwing a fit, but the team is not necessarily in a hurry. And the 2 years left is another thing here that the team might be thinking about. When Trent McDuffie was extended by the Rams earlier this offseason, he had already played 4 years in the NFL. He only had 1 year left on his deal, the 5th-year option. So because of that, there was more urgency to extend him. It was more important to extend him. And on some level, it did make a good deal of sense why maybe McDuffie sets the market in a way that Witherspoon and Gonzalez won't necessarily, because there's more motivation on his part to get all the money he can because he had to wait the extra year. Maybe that's going to the equation here. Maybe the Seahawks are like saying, hey, man, we're taking care of you a year earlier than McDuffie. So you should meet us halfway and give us a little bit more of a discount compared to McDuffie. Maybe you get the 30 million a year that Derek Stingley got, or the slightly over 30 million that Sauce Gardner got. Maybe that's what's going on here. And of course, Witherspoon is not immediately going to give in on that. I'm sure Witherspoon thinks he should set the market because he's an extremely good player. And I mean, he could have won Super Bowl MVP very easily. He was one of our best players in that game. And I can understand why he feels like he should be the top guy when it's his turn. But maybe the team, knowing that they have time, knowing that there's still plenty of opportunities to negotiate to a middle ground, they're trying to hold out for an under market setting deal. And the logic is there, right? The logic is there. I don't think you can make a great argument that Witherspoon is not worthy of setting the market with his deal, but maybe you can make the argument that he needs to come down a little bit because we're taking care of him early. The thing is, that didn't happen with JSN, right? JSN set the market at the wide receiver spot, and he set it by a pretty decent amount. So it cuts both ways, because you got to remember, these cap hits are going to matter when that extension kicks in. By which I mean the extension doesn't kick in until later because you still have these 2 years left. So it kind of cuts both ways. I don't know if players really think about this kind of stuff that much anymore. I think that if there is a break that you get, it's more along the guarantees. And there could be something there. Like Trent McDuffie, his practical guarantee on his contract was $100 million. Practically, the entire deal is guaranteed. Maybe Witherspoon will be a little bit more flexible there, where he gets slightly more money overall, but in terms of realistic guarantees, it's a little bit less. Maybe it'll be something like that. But I don't think he's going to be okay with less than 31 million. I think you are looking at a situation where you have to at least get to that 31 million per year. Maybe there's also a little bit of a holdup with the years. Now, that's not what this tweet implies, but is it possible that Devon Witherspoon wants a 3-year extension and the team wants to give him a 4-year extension because Witherspoon wants to get back to the market earlier when he's still 29 or 30 years old and he wants a shorter term deal? Is that possible? The tweet doesn't imply it, but I do think there is some opportunity there for Witherspoon to be looking at somebody like a Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley got a 3-year deal. So Stingley is going to hit the market when he's still like 28, 29 years old. Witherspoon might want that. Witherspoon might want to set up a scenario where he gets to get another elite contract as a veteran player, rather than be like 31 years old when he's a free agent again. That's possible. So a couple different things going on here. I want to stress again, we are still over 2 months away from the season starting. We're almost 5 weeks away. We're a little more than 5 weeks away from the start of the preseason. The Seahawks don't play a preseason game for more than 6 weeks. And a lot of people didn't think this was going to get done until training camp started late July anyway. So I don't think there's anything to be worried about. I don't think there's anything to be upset about. I don't think there's anything to really be concerned about. But it is worth noting that Brady Henderson believes things have not gone smoothly, which does imply the team was hoping this would be done by now. And again, the wording of this tweet, if this reflects what is going on, seems like the Seahawks are trying to get a little bit of a break here. And again, you can see why they might feel like they're entitled to one, but I don't think it's going to play out that way. I think you got to take care of him in a very similar way to the way you took care of JSN. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you guys think. More stuff coming later. See you soon. Go Hawks.